Hey, hi Tunji, how are you?
I'm fine, Tell me. How are you?
I'm fine. What's the time there?
It's just gone 2 minutes past one.
Goodness me. Anyway, welcome to Thelma's podcast. How you
Thank
feeling?
you. I'm feeling very well, thank you. And lovely to see you.
Oh, I'm great. I'm so happy that to have you. I don't know if you've seen my interview with Tresha. Did you
No,
ever
I
do?
haven't. I didn't know you interviewed Treasure at all. No.
You know what? Don't worry. I got
Yeah.
you. After this, I'll send it to you. But we
Okay.
spoke about you basically.
Oh
And
no.
I said, and she said, "Oh, have you invited him yet?" I said, "You're right, I haven't, but I will." So let's start with your filmmaking journey because you are a journalist. No, you're a filmmaker, right?
Yeah, filmmaker, cinematographer by trade. Yeah.
Lovely. Can you tell us all about your journey? How did you get started in all of that?
As a cinematographer, well, I guess as a filmmaker, um, uh, I didn't really know what I wanted to do really when I was at school. And if you know Nigerian parents, they always tell you what you're going to be before by the time you're about 2 years old. They're telling you you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be an engineer, right? Before you're even born, they've already got your career signed, So
That's African thing.
that's an African thing, right? Absolutely. I didn't even know what I wanted to do. By the time I got to about 15, 16, my parents had decided what all my siblings were going to do, but they couldn't figure out what I was going to do. They always seemed to they would go doctor, lawyer, engineer, and not know what to say when they got to me and just go past me. So I was kind of like lucky. I was able to find my own path. And all I remember was saying to myself, I want to be something which is not kept me, I don't want to be stuck in an office, something what gives me hands-on, and I want to travel. That were the things I had in my mind when I wanted it, but I didn't even know what that was until one day I watched this film on television called Night Day for Night, which is a French film, and it was a kind of like a comedy drama about this film crew trying to make a film and the
Mm.
disaster. Yeah, and I just remember thinking, that's what I want to do. That is what I want to do. That was it, really. And then I started off wanting to be a director because I knew about Steven Spielberg, but that's all I knew. And by the time I got to college, and then for some reason I went to college and studied still photography. I don't even know why I did that, but I thought to be a director, you must have to be a photographer. So I went to college. I did still photography for 2 years, and then I went on to do a degree in photography for another 3 years. And by the time I'd finished photography that degree, I realized I didn't want to be a director. I wanted to be a cinematographer. Uh,
Amazing.
yeah. And then I went on and did an MA, a postgraduate diploma, and then I did an MA at film school, but I specialized in cinematography,
So
really.
can you tell me cinematography? What's the difference between a filmmaker and cinematographer or director? What's the difference?
So a cinematographer is a filmmaker, director is a filmmaker. They're all filmmakers. If you're making film, you're just filmmakers, but you just have a different skill to make that film.
Mm-hmm.
So the cinematographer, while a still photographer will take pictures of a camera and it's a single image. Okay. Cinematographer deals with the moving image. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's like shooting a video or shooting a documentary, or you're the person behind the camera and the person who's doing all the lighting and the camera. So that's what cinematographer does.
Mm-hmm. So how
Loads more,
many?
sorry.
Yeah, go on.
I
Go
said
on.
it's loads more fun than being a director. We get all the best toys to play with. We get all the big cameras, the
Uh,
lights, the
I'm sure
drones.
it's as
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
Cinematography, you're also in charge of the image, so that's fun too. So you know
right.
exactly
Yeah,
what image you want. So I
exactly.
feel
Yeah.
like, are you a perfectionist? Exactly what you want. This is how you want it, or you're like, you know what? Let's see how it works.
No, there's a kind of combination of two. You plan in advance. The best thing to way about being a filmmaker is that the best way to make sure that you get the image that you want is that you plan in advance. But it's a collaboration with the director because you have to give it's the director's vision, and then we try
Mm-hmm.
and create that vision using the camera and lighting. But you plan well in advance, and if you plan in advance, you more or less know what you're going to get. So yeah, most cinematographers are perfectionists, but sometimes you just get it doesn't go according to plan, and you don't quite get the image you're looking for, and sometimes it does. But yeah, most cinematographers are very meticulous about the tiniest detail. The tiniest little detail, we're quite meticulous about it. Yeah.
Yes, lovely. So prof how do I say this? Your cinematographer journey, did it take you to many places? Did you manage to do that in many other places?
Yeah, I have actually. I mean, uh, if I start backwards, the last because I've moved to the US now. I live in the US, but so the last job I did was um I mean, I moved to Nigeria for 2.5 years, almost 3 years actually. So I was working as a cinematographer in Nigeria, shooting. What did I shoot? 3 feature films, TV series for Netflix, load of documentary stuff. So that was in Nigeria. But I've also shot in Ghana, Uganda,
Mm.
Senegal, Togo, Benin, Spain, with you in Portugal,
Yeah,
right? You in Portugal. Um,
you travel loads.
yeah, some other places I can't remember. And I've shot here in the States. Well, I've been here in the States as well. I think there might be one or two. India. Did some shot in India. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So how many films have you done?
Feature films.
Feature films, yeah.
Uh, one, two, three, four, five. Five
Wow.
feature films. Is it five? Yeah, 5 feature films. One TV series. Is it five? Yeah, 5 feature films. One, two, three. Yeah, 5 feature films. One TV drama series, which is still on Netflix. Um, and then loads of documentaries. One
That's
documentary series, part of a documentary series, as one of a, and then loads of other stuff. Yeah.
lovely. Is there
Hmm.
any particular people in the film industry that you worked with that we know maybe?
Um, well, I don't know if you know that film which is out at the moment called Mammy Water. There's a recent film. This is the most recent film. Well, I worked with this guy, but I didn't make his film. I didn't shoot his film, but he's doing quite well as a film director now. So he's just recently shot a film called Mammy Water, which I know was screening in some cinemas across London. Actually, it's screening all over the world at the moment.
Oh, wow.
And it won Sundance Best Cinematography, and it's won awards all over the place. And he's
That's
a director called CJ Obasi.
oh,
And I shot his first 2 films.
that's
I did.
fantastic.
I didn't shoot this last one. Yeah. Mm.
So I need to ask you, it's maybe a personal question. I met you when you were in London,
That's right.
and
Yeah.
what made you go to live in Nigeria? Was it an opportunity there for you that you thought, I have to go there? I can't miss the opportunity. I mean, why did you leave London for Nigeria?
Yeah. Well, you're right. It was like a case of opportunity in Nigeria, not much of an opportunity in the UK. Right.
Mm.
Because when I finished, when I got my MA, which was around 2000 and something or 2000, there was hardly any work, and I was always
Mm.
struggling to get work in the United Kingdom. You know how it is. If your face doesn't fit, you're not going to get in. And I was kind of like one of those very early black cinematographers trying to get into industry, which was predominantly 99% white at the time. And so,
Yeah.
and even my colleagues, even my white colleagues who were trying to get me work, and admitted that they knew what the reason was. So eventually, I decided, well, rather than hang around here, just try and not getting very far. And I was part-time teaching, as you well know, part-time teaching and part-time shooting lots of short films. Shot so many short films and worked on so many short films. But eventually, I thought, well, Nigeria, second largest film industry in the world. Okay, they're
That's good.
making loads of films. I know people. I know a lot of people, so let me try my luck there. So I told the wife, Claire, not who was a girlfriend at the time, but she's wife now because we got married last year.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank
You
you.
kept that quiet. But anyway, so you told her, what did she say? She
I
said
said to
yes.
her, I said to her, uh, we need to let's move to Nigeria, and she said yes. And I remember quickly thinking before I give her the opportunity to change her mind, I'd organized everything already, so she couldn't.
Listen, I don't really
Yeah.
blame you
Mm,
because exactly what you said. I also had my personal, challenges in the film industry in the UK. And
yeah,
it's you're right, it's really white based. Do you
yeah.
know what changes can be made to that? everybody can have opportunities, because it's a very tricky industry to get into, I feel like.
It is a tricky industry to get into. It's getting slightly better because, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because it literally had to be someone dying, and so it was the Floyd was it
Yeah,
Floyd George, right?
yeah,
No,
George Floyd.
George
Yeah,
Floyd,
yeah,
George Floyd. It literally hit for him to die before anybody suddenly realized, and then for there to be, for it to be become people become aware of the fact that there was a lack of inequity, lack of inclusion, and a lack of diversity in the film industry. Before suddenly realized, oh, and then that brought it all to the surface. And then all of a sudden, everybody went suddenly realized, okay, we've got to do something about this. So there has been a lot. I mean, I was working for Becton doing a lot of diversity and inclusion work, and I did workshops like introducing cinematography to underrepresented groups, that kind of thing. And lots of people were doing that. There was a company called Digital Orchard who were based in England, London, who were very good at organizing events and trying to encourage the film industry and Bector as well to encourage the film industry to be more open. And so there's been a lot of work going on in that, and there are now actually a lot more young Black cinematographers
yeah.
now
Mm-hmm.
now than it was ever when I was trying to get in. So
Mm-hmm.
there's that. But there's still, there's there's a lot of people in the industry who are trying, but there's still a lot of work to do because everybody was busy because everyone could do it because we had COVID, so nobody was doing anything. So everyone could get stuck into it, and British Society of Cinematographers and all those people were trying to get involved. Okay, this is what we can do. We can help to improve the situation as it stands. But at the moment the work came up, it's kind of slowed down again. And I have a friend who's a who's a camera assistant, a very high end camera assistant who works in them, and she's a Black Caribbean who still says that all of a sudden it's slowed down again, and people aren't being as productive as they were in trying to encourage diversity inclusion within the film industry. But I mean, it's still ongoing and there's still a lot more work to do. But it's got better.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm doing this podcast really is because I
Mm.
feel like my students, they're very naive.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that in a wrong way, but they feel like, oh, you work in the film industry. Why did you leave? And I'm like, you guys understand, it's really hard to get into. And it's
Yeah.
not about, like teaching. It's everyday thing. You get a sustainable revenue, like you get a stability. But in a filmmaking, you don't get that. It's about the job that you get. If
Yeah.
let's say the film is done, then you need to find another job. If the
Yeah.
series is done, you have to find another job. I said to them, it's not that easy. It's not that simple. It's not because you think film industry means red carpet, Oscar. It doesn't mean that at all. In
And
fact,
it's never
it,
that.
it's never that. I
It's that
said,
for
the one that you
1%.
see, this 1%, that's exactly that.
Yeah,
Even
but for
the
the rest of us,
actors that you see is
yeah,
1%, because
yeah,
acting as well, you need to get the job, you need to get called, and it's not easy.
yeah,
So that's why I'm doing this, for them to realize, look, after school, what is there for us to do or how we go about it. So I'm trying to basically open the eyes what the real world is out there. So
yeah.
I'm so glad to have your insight, and always you're so honest. So when you went to Nigeria, everything went well. So why did you leave for America?
So I was in Nigeria for three, and Claire came with me for 1 year. So I was
Mm,
in yeah, she lived with me for 1 year, but she had to leave after a while. She left and was going to come back, but trying to get a work in Nigeria if you're non-Nigerian is very, very difficult. Okay, because they have a perception of the fact that if you're an expat, as they like to call us, or foreigner, that you want a high salary. And she wasn't really looking for that. She was just looking for something to do. But she did do some work. She co-produced. We did some producing together. She taught English to South Koreans. She did
oh,
a bit of training, but she just couldn't get the job. So I stayed another 1 year and 9 months, and then I decided it was probably not a very good idea to be living apart from your long-term partner while I was living in Nigeria and she was living in England. So I decided to come back. But then I was in England. That was 2015. So I was
mm-hmm.
in England for what, another 7 years before I left. And we were going to leave early, but there were family issues which kept us behind, and then there was COVID, was kind of kept us behind, and then eventually because I was teaching at the Northern Film School, which is one of the film schools up in Leeds, a very good film school actually. So I was teaching part-time cinematography there, plus a load of other film schools like Ravensbourne, London Met, not London Met. What's that film school in Ealing? Met Film School. So I was teaching cinematography at all these places and film production, and then I decided, well, there was never going to be a full-time, there was never going to be kind of like a permanent position or something like that. So I decided, well, I better and I was always looking to move abroad somewhere. Didn't have to be in the States, just had to be somewhere else where I could
Somewhere else.
experience something different teaching. And this job popped up in Boston University, which I applied for, and I got it, but it took 2 years.
Oh wow! But
Yeah,
you got it. That's the main thing.
yeah. It took 2 years.
What did Claire say about that? About you,
Oh,
going to America?
when I told her, well, it's a funny story about that because what I was in Nigeria at the time when they told me I got, and the dean of the school called me up and said to me, okay, I just want to call you up to let you know that you've got the job, okay, and here's a contract. So as soon as I'd done that, I called Claire up and said to her, I've got the job. I got back to England 2 days later, and she'd already started packing.
That was so nice. I like the fact that she feels like she'll have something to do there in America. So it's
Yeah,
also an opportunity for her as much as it's for you. That's
yeah,
fantastic. So what does I mean, you are teaching, you are
yeah,
doing your films. What does
yeah.
she do there? Is she doing something?
Yeah, Claire's been a bit of a. She's decided that she's been an entrepreneur. That's what she
Mm.
switched into. So she's doing all her own stuff around network marketing and stuff like that. That's what she, yeah. So she's decided that she's going to work for herself. Um,
Well
and she
done.
does, yeah. Well, she can do that because I pay all the bills, right? So there you go.
But I mean, the thing is, I
But
mean,
she's in,
tell us
yeah.
about life. Tell me about life in America. Is it the American dream? Like, tell me a bit more. Give me a little insight what it's like to live in America.
But it's very different from the United Kingdom. Everybody thinks that we're similar. We're not.
No.
Totally very. I mean, the only thing we have in common I suppose, is the English language, and even then they speak a different English to what we speak. Because sometimes my colleagues are speaking and I haven't got a clue what they're saying. I don't know what they mean. I understand the
I was
words.
gonna ask you about this.
Yeah. And they'll be talking in a conversation, and I don't get their jokes because I don't understand the culture. Yeah. So they'll be speaking. I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about, and I don't. Yeah. But they're speaking perfectly English, and I understand what the words. But the order they put them in, and the way that they actually put them together and have these conversations, I'm like, I'm lost. I just don't tell them I'm lost. I have to pretend I understand, right?
That's what I would do as well. I pretend I get it. Like, yeah.
So there's that. So, but we're very, very, in terms of the way that in terms of the cultural differences, they are quite big. So if America, for instance, Americans are great at marketing themselves. They are the
Mhm.
best marketing experts in the world when it comes to marketing themselves and America. Whereas
Mhm.
we British are a lot more reserved, and and we're a bit, well, we don't sort of like show off or brag about anything. We like to be, so there's that. Um,
I mean,
everything here,
in terms of filmmaking opportunities,
yeah,
one of my teachers said, America, you can't deny there's always opportunities there.
yeah,
Always.
yeah. That's the truth. This country is a land of opportunity. That is the one big difference between the United Kingdom and the United States. United Kingdom is more developed in many ways. Right, it's much more developed than the States. But when it comes to opportunity, the United States is king by a long way. Making films, if you want to make, I mean, they've got Hollywood, for God's sake, which is down in LA, and most of our students, when they finish here, go, or even before they finish here, they do one semester in LA as
Mhm.
interns. Yeah.
No.
And if they don't go to LA, they can go to New York, which is not far from, which is 4 hours train ride from here, from where I live.
Hmm.
So yeah, so in terms of filmmaking in the States, and especially in the States, this country is there are many more opportunities here,
Hmm.
regardless of race, color, or than there is in elsewhere, anywhere else I've been to.
That's fantastic. And also
Yeah,
the students they get to learn from one of the best. Do you
yeah,
tell your students about the things that you've done or show them some of your work? Have you done that with them?
a little bit. We don't a little bit. We always have to be very careful about that because what you don't want to be is um spending your entire time talking about your own work. But that's the first thing, because, but more importantly, we try to give them a broad. a broad basis, a broad expanse of everybody's work. So I talk about Nigerian films in Hollywood, not specifically me, but I talk about Nigerian films. I talk about Chinese films, Indian films, European. You know, I try South Korean. I try to spread the kind of spread the knowledge around filmmaking beyond the United States, because a lot of them think filmmaking starts at LA and ends at the other side of LA, or Hollywood. So we always try and give them a broad and broad knowledge of films from around the world. And most of the time, most of them are very receptive to that. They're interested to find out what's going on outside of the United States.
That's
So yeah,
fantastic.
yeah.
So there was a time, I think you had a foundation. There was a time I remember you had a foundation. I forgot a charity that I don't know what
Oh
it
yeah,
was.
that was a book charity I used to do
A
called
book
Pelican.
charity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Are you still doing that?
I left that, but I think the person who was running it is still doing it, but I'm not sure if he's doing it anymore. Yeah,
You tell me the work you did for that charity, because I think that's very lovely of you, kind of you.
yeah. We used to do it was getting children's books out to schools in Ghana, particularly Ghana and Nigeria, and getting school books out for, because most, if you go to most, a lot of Nigerian schools, they don't have a lot of or African schools, or at least West African schools anyway, but it didn't have a lot of English speaking children's books. Um,
Mm.
and as you all know, if you want to educate your children, first thing to do is get them to read, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things we used to do is we used to get money. We used to get money donations. We used to do events at summer fairs and try and get donations and sponsorship to buy books, children's books, all sorts of children's books, and then send them out to specific schools in Ghana and Nigeria.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, it was
Honestly,
good. Mm.
yeah, I mean, I like that you're so busy working, making films, and then you also got time for that. I mean, that's fantastic. You know, honestly, I don't know how to say this, but we know each other for what? I can't count, over a decade. Let's just gonna
Yeah,
say
at
that.
least at
So
least a decade. Yeah.
how did you get to know my former employers? London Video. Wait,
Oh, yeah, London Video Hire.
yeah. How did you get to know them?
I think I they so what it was. I think they advertised for a camera person to shoot some stuff or something like that, or camera person, and I applied and got the job. I think we were doing it was one of those BFI. It was a British Film Institute event. I think it was equivalent to the Oscars. What's the British
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, BAFTAs.
BAFTAs? It was the BAFTAs, yeah. I think it was the
Yeah,
BAFTAs. And so they got the contract to shoot all the to shoot live online to for Variety magazine, Film Variety
hmm
magazine. And so I think that's how I got to them. I think I might have known them before then, but that's the first job I remember doing for them was shooting that. I was one of the camera operators. Uh,
lovely.
yeah, yeah, that was fun and nerve-wracking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean
yeah, yeah,
that's how I met you for the first
yeah,
time. And I
yeah.
remember I was like, you're so talented. Like you know what you're doing, you know what you're about, and I'm so glad to see that despite your challenges, despite everything, you're still going, like you're just not giving up. I love that about you. So
Thank you.
can you give
Yeah.
one advice to give students about, the film industry? What is it that you need to do to keep at it? What would be your one advice?
So, um, don't two well, two things really. Don't listen to the noise around you, and by noise I mean by people saying to you, do you think you should be doing something else? This is quite difficult, or giving you all the reasons why you shouldn't be doing it. And some of those reasons might be valid, but just don't, they might, or they might not valid, but they might make sense. Like your parents saying to you, well, do you think you should be doing this because it's quite difficult career to get into. And I even hear that now with my students who are actually at film school, and I have a lot of Chinese students and their
Mm,
parents. Yeah, yeah, because Boston University has 20% Chinese intake.
okay.
So yeah, so I mean, I even hear that now, but I would say that don't don't listen to the noise. If it's what you want to do, then just set your focus. That's your
Mhm.
focus. Just do it. But
Mm.
remember, it takes time. And there's this thing about doing 10,000 hours, as they say. This is the second thing, 10,000 hours. You have to do 10,000 hours of something to become great at it. And that's what it is. So one, don't get derailed. Just keep doing what it is you want to do. And remember
Mhm.
that practice makes perfect. And you've just got to keep practicing and practicing as often much as you can. And that's
That's
that, yeah, that will help you get through.
that's fantastic, and I'm sure that's why
Mm.
you also tell your students.
Yeah.
I'm sure if they ask you advice as well, that's what exactly you tell them. I mean, honestly, they're very privileged to have somebody like you. You know, not only a filmmaker, but also teach films, like two for the price of one. Really, that's fantastic. That's amazing.
I'll have to say that to my boss when they raise my pay. That my friend said I'm two for the price of one, double my pay.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, she deserves more, definitely. Honestly, thank you so much. And obviously, I hope I can see you again. I mean, you came to the UK, but I think I need to give a try and go to America one day. And it's cheaper than go to Africa anyway. So,
It is cheaper. It's cheaper. Yeah, you come out to Boston. It's a great city. It's good fun.
is it
Yeah,
you have a direct plane to go to Boston, or do you have to go to New
yeah.
York? And
No. You can fly direct. You can. It's I think it's about 6.5 hours from Heathrow Airport.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, fantastic!
British Airways flies here direct.
That's fantastic. I want to say a
And
big
yeah.
thank you. Yes, go on.
No, I was going
Anything?
to say, and American Airlines as well. If you ever wanted to come, so they all fly here direct. Yeah,
Ah, fantastic. Thank you so
yeah,
much, Tunji. We're going to keep in touch anyway. I'm going
yeah.
to make sure I send that to you. But thank you again so much for your time.
You're
Really.
welcome.
A
You're
lovely
welcome.
Sunday.
All right, and you too. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Take
Bye.
care.
Take care. Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Bye.